Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for making the time today to join the North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance meeting for January the 1st of 2023. I'm Karen Ahrens, and I'm a board member at large. We board members on the Development Alliance take turns to host these meetings and help them run smoother so it doesn't fall to one person. I'm very happy to take this meeting on today. I'm Karen. I'm calling in from Bismarck. I am a dietitian consulting in nutrition and health. And my favorite way to keep warm is to wear my wool sweaters. I have a lot of sweaters and turtlenecks that I wear, and that's my favorite way to keep warm. I'll just go around the screen and call on people to call out your first name and then be ready to introduce yourself, just as a way to keep things running. We want to get to know each other a little better, but also not take up an entire chunk of agenda in doing so. So we'll keep it flowing quickly as we go to Stephanie to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Bloomhagen. I work in Bottineau, North Dakota from my home, although today I'm in Massachusetts visiting family. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit called Farms that provides education and support to small-scale sustainable agriculture across the state. I'm also currently the board chair for the North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance. And I like to keep warm with a nice mug of hot tea, and when I'm at home, snuggling up on the couch with my very furry, very cuddly cat.
Nice. Thank you, Stephanie. Let's go to Lori.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lori Sapo. I work in rural development for the state's Rural Electric and Telecommunications Cooperatives. My favorite way to stay warm in the winter is to move.
All right, great. Jill.
Gotta unmute myself. Hi, my name is Jill Hawkinson. I'm Community Development Specialist with USDA Rural Development, and I also serve as Beginning Farmer Rancher for the rural development programs. My favorite way to stay warm is probably to sit in front of a warm fire if I can find one, otherwise a warm cup of coffee.
All right, great, Jill. How about Candace?
I'm Candace Anderson, and I'm calling in from Moorhead, Minnesota. And I work for Red River Harvest Cooperative, producer cooperative in Fargo Moorhead area. And my favorite way to stay warm, I like to sleep in a hoodie, and I've been sleeping with a knit hat too, just to stay warm.
That works. Paul.
Hi, Paul Overby from Wolford, North Dakota. I farm here, but as far as Food and Development Alliance, I'm executive director for the Northern Plains Resource Conservation Development Council, and we have a local food initiative going on. I stay warm when I go outside by putting on my big heavy coveralls and a big heavy jacket and my big heavy snow boots, which I'm going to have to do tomorrow when I go load grain.
Well, yeah, that damp cold kind of gets through the layers, doesn't it, Paul?
Yeah.
All right, Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm from Washburn, North Dakota originally, but right now I am working with Katie Johnke at Bismarck Burley Public Health as a dietetics intern. And the way that I like to keep warm is probably by wearing my slippers.
All right. Are they fuzzy bunny slippers?
They're fuzzy, but they're not bunny slippers.
All right, next to Jenna.
Hello, my name is Jenna Penueta. I'm the new local foods coordinator with Bismarck Parks and Recreation. I'm out of Bismarck. You might see them here. I have some dogs, so I like to cuddle with the dogs to stay warm, but I actually run kind of hot. So I actually don't need much to stay warm. Usually my body just does it for me. So
Thanks, Jenna. Glad that there's a local food coordinator in Bismarck once again. Felicity.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felicity. I live and work from my home in Fargo, and I work for Farms. So Stephanie already introduced what we do, but I am the program manager. So I work with educational programs with beginning and small scale farmers. My favorite way to keep warm, some of them have been mentioned, so I will mention I love a really toasty, like dark beer with like chocolate or vanilla or something that just really, it's cold when you drink it, but it warms you up from the inside out. So that's one of my favorite ways to stay warm.
Sounds good. Jan.
Hey everyone, Jan Stankiewicz, Community Health and Nutrition Specialist for NDSU Extension. I'm in Bismarck and I layer up. Sometimes I've got like 4 shirts on and 2 pairs of socks and like tights under my pants. So I do layers.
All right, Jan. Michael.
I'm Michael Patrick, public health intern with Bismarck Burley Public Health, work with Katie Johnke. I like warm hoodies and warm coffee.
All right, cool. It's great that Katie has 2 interns at this time. Wonderful. Okay, looking through my screen, Shelby.
Hello, I am the communications coordinator for Farms in the Minot area, sort of. My favorite way to stay warm is just to have like a hot pot of soup on the stove for the day and just like getting a bowl throughout the day and staying warm.
Sounds delicious. Bjorn.
Hello, good afternoon. Bjorn Solberg. I own a organic potato storage and supply business, but then also help as kind of director of wholesale operations with Red River Harvest Cooperative in Fargo Moorhead area, kind of an online farmers market, food hub hybrid, and involved with statewide Minnesota projects through that as well. I grew up out in the country and we always love to have a good bonfire or campfire. So my all-time favorite is just burning stuff and sitting around it.
All right. Next to Sammy.
Hey, I'm Sammy Peterson out of the Bismarck area, representing the Bisman Community Food Co-op, or what was. I was the produce manager and director of the Farm to School program. And my favorite way to stay warm would be, I would agree with Lori, to keep moving or a nice hot bath.
Sounds good. We have Quinn here too.
Hey everyone, Quinn Renfint, board chair for Red River Harvest Cooperative. I'm also on the board for the Farmers Market and Growers Association of North Dakota. And then I have a farm just south of Minot where I've been building a farmstead production facility for the past 2.5 years. I am favorite way to stay warm. Right now I'm at the gym actually, so sauna. And then I like what Felicity said of following that up with a beer. So that'd be my favorite way to stay warm.
All right, we're serious, staying warm people here. Rob.
Sorry, I had the mute button on as I'm kind of shuffling about. Hi, I'm Rob Pearson. I'm IT manager for Home of Economy Stores. Home of Economy's headquarters is in Grand Forks, North Dakota, but I'm myself just outside of Moorhead on a little farm that we bought a couple of years ago. I would love to second the notion for the best way to stay warm is the bonfire, but I never get to do that. So it's what happens is I throw on the old Carhartt and get shoveling, and that'll at least work. So.
All right, thanks, Rob. Glad you could join us. And Katie.
Hey everyone, Katie Johnke, Nutrition Services Coordinator, Bismarck Burley Public Health. I would have to say to stay warm, I'm a blanket person, so any good cozy blanket will do.
Right, excellent. Is there anyone that I missed and did not get to introduce yourself yet?
My name is
Oh,
Mariah.
Mariah,
Okay.
please.
Sure. Mariah Ralston Darragon. I'm out of Bismarck here. I'm on the board for the Bisman Community Food Co-op and staying warm. I love Carhartt, everything Carhartt, especially a fleece gator that, yeah, lives on me in the winter.
All right. We have a really excellent turnout today, and I think it's an awesome way to start out 2023 with so many people gathered together who care about local food. Just because I, have always been an advocate throughout my life, and because I took this job for a short time working at the Legislative Assembly, I thought it would be good to share just a really brief legislative update. The 2023 session started on January 3rd. Legislators have until tomorrow to introduce bills. So what I tried to do was show folks, and some of you know all of this already and more than me, but I tried to show that a link to a place where that's called a general topic index. There are general topics where you can look up bills of the category that you're searching for. Not all the bills always get into the right place or the most intuitive place, but I thought that would be a good place to start is the bills related to agriculture and the link to find those. From there, you can find lots of information like bill numbers, a description of the bill, an actual text of the bill, when there are hearings coming up on the bill, recordings of the hearings that have taken place on the bill, and just a lot of information from the Legislative Assembly website. So I did a quick look through those agriculture bills, and there are some bills that might be of interest. You might have looked through them, but I just took a real quick description on some that might be of interest to the people on this call. I guess on the state statute, the state laws in North Dakota, there has been required an advisory committee on sustainable agriculture on the books since about 2009. There is a proposal to remove that. Testimony of the agriculture commissioners stated that the group only met twice, the last time in 2010. So that was of interest. I didn't know about that. There's a bill number 1276 that would provide some funding to agriculture diversification and development. That might be of interest. There is, and you might have heard the governor speak to making changes in who can own farms. North Dakota has had on the books legislation that prohibit corporations from owning farms. A bill 1371 would grant exceptions for this for beekeeping, agricultural support, aquaculture, cattle, backgrounding and feedlot operations, hydroponic agriculture, and greenhouse agriculture. So it would permit groups that are formed as corporations to engage in those activities in the state. That might be of interest to some people. That was 1371. And then as we were doing our little social warm-up session, Lori mentioned that there is a bill that might be of even more interest. Lori, do you have some more details on that one?
Sure. So just out of the blue, without being asked for, we had a bill introduced by Senator Myrdal, and it's Senate Bill number 2273. And it's got good sponsors. It's got Myrdal, Hogan, Klein, and Vita from the Senate side, and then Hansen and Munson from the House side. And it's pretty vague. It's asking for $2 million to the Department of Commerce for rural grocery store sustainability and food access expansion pilot grants. So I know that they talked to the people up in Walsh County about how they're aggregating conventional foods with local foods and purchasing cooperatively and distributing together. I think they have something like that in mind, but they didn't actually define it. They're leaving it open for people to be innovative. So I've heard from Commerce that it's a long shot. So I think it'll take all the people that think that food access is a problem in North Dakota to speak up or contact their legislator and say like, hey, I support this bill.
Yeah, so if people heard the names when Lori was calling out that list of the sponsors, it would be especially, and they serve you as your senator for your legislative district in North Dakota. If this is something that sounds good, and we'll definitely try to find time to study it more as North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance, but just to reach out and state your support for that if you feel that that's a good idea. Thanks for that, Lori. I had not seen that.
See, Karen, you may have touched on, I was just curious that Senate Bill 2027, it's up at the very top of the categories, Advisory Committee on Sustainable Ag. And then when I click on that and go to version and look at, they're just repealing the Advisory Committee on Sustainable Ag. Is that right? Okay. And I guess I don't know anything about North Dakota Sustainable Ag and such. That doesn't sound like it's a good thing. I mean, obviously, but I don't know, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just read through the written testimony submitted by the Agriculture Commissioner, and he noted that that advisory committee was only convened twice, in 2009 and 2010, and it hadn't been since then. So that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, I don't know. If you read, there's like a link, or it looks like two paper clips. If you go under the tab that says testimony, and then you can pull up the written testimony that's been submitted, and you can read that he also lists ways that agriculture practices that are sustainable in agriculture are listed as his testimony. So that's how you can find out more information about that. Okay, does anyone else know of any other bills of interest? If not, we can use this as a way to keep each other informed, or share any more bills related to what we're interested in, especially after this week. And just a reminder that things do move really fast. There are a lot of bills that have been submitted this year to the state legislative assembly. If there's one bill or more than one bill that interests you and you want to try to have a say in it, you kind of have to stay on it, because they can call a hearing on that bill, hold a hearing, and do a vote within a matter of 2 to 3 days. So if you are interested in trying to make a difference on something, if you have time to try and stick with it and keep your eye on it.
Karen, do we have time to quickly remind everybody about the member resources page for updates? Or if we don't have time, I could just put, okay. Felicity, are you hosting? I'm not able to share my screen. Would you share that so people can see?
Yeah, you wanted to share the member updates page, is that?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a lot of new people today. So this is our website, ndlocalfood.org will always get you there. And up in the menu on the top, there's always a member updates section. So this is where any of us that have filled out the registration process, and anyone can register to use this, can submit updates. So we used to share updates at our monthly member meetings, and it became difficult to remember, who said what. So now we have a place where they're written down. You can look back and you have all the information there. So as bills come up, those of us that are monitoring that can make sure we're posting information here. And just quickly, you see the little person icon up in the far right corner. That is how you would, so Felicity says sign in because she's already registered, but if you were not registered, it would say register or join. And there's a very simple process, a little application to fill out, and then you have a login and password to submit updates.
And it's open to anyone who's interested. And we don't have dues that are required, but we do remind us, Stephanie or Felicity, of our suggested one-time dues payments.
It's an optional donation of $50. And that's completely optional, but it goes to support the activities of the North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance. And that's a one-time lifetime membership fee.
All right, thanks to all the new people who joined, and for Stephanie pointing out how we can keep each other up to date by sharing member updates as an individual or what your organization is doing. We've had some things that have been kind of perking along over 2022, and there have been some good things and good progress working ahead to support local food efforts across the state. And so I wanted to start with that, and that we have new people to bring us kind of all up to speed. So I've asked Lori Sapu, and I know Stephanie too has been working on that Regional Food Business Center application, to give us a brief update on some of those good things that have been happening in the last year. Start with Lori.
I was just going to ask who wanted to go first. Okay, so we did submit a application for the USDA Rural Food Business Center grant program. It was a 3-state application, $31 million over 5 years, and it represents about 40 different organizations. So from North Dakota, we have North Dakota Farmers Union, which is the coordinating entity for this grant. And then we have the North Dakota Women's Business Center. We have the 8 different regional councils across the state. We have the North Dakota Local Foods Development Alliance. And we also have our North Dakota Rural Electric Cooperative Foundation. And then we needed to add the Rural Development Finance Corporation. And that's one that you guys might not be aware of, but it came in instead of the North Dakota Department of Agriculture. So they're going to administer, it's an organization I'm related to with electric and telecommunications cooperatives. And they would be administering a $400,000 per year grant program for local food, the development of local food businesses. We had asked the Agriculture Department, the Ag Products Utilization Commission, that's a entity underneath the Ag Department, to do that part of the application, and they had declined. So we, at the last moment, needed to slap somebody in there that had some expertise in administering grants. And I used to work for APUC, and so I do understand that part as well. So that's how we ended up with that section of it. So As far as I know, applications were due January 6th. We got ours submitted, what was it, Stephanie, end of November, I believe, before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
I don't think there's any extra points for being early, but we just happened to be, that was the original deadline. So we got ours in by that time. And I understand that they're looking at perhaps April sometime of having a decision for it, but there's very tight lips right now. And it's not a traditional grant, it's a cooperative agreement, which means that we've put our names together and our interests in developing local foods, but there isn't like a concrete plan yet on how we would all work together. And as I understand it, maybe Stephanie, you understand it differently, but that will be formulated in the first year of the award if we get the cooperative agreement. Is there anything you'd like to add, Stephanie?
You did such a good job, and I wanted to thank you for being the connector who connected North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance to this project. I'm
Oh, you guys
really
made it
excited.
stronger for sure.
And also just a shout out to Cheryl Hill with the Region 5 Development Commission in Staples, Minnesota, which is the lead application on this project. Regardless of what happens with this project at some point in the future, I think we should bring in Cheryl or a member of her staff as a speaker, because they're doing some excellent things. And they use a model called WealthWorks for community development, which I think would be really informative for the work that we do. And also, I have never seen such a large project handled so efficiently and competently. They're really, Cheryl and her organization are stellar.
I agree. And I guess one other thing I thought about is that they're trying to get every state covered under this program. I don't know if it'll be equally covered or what it will be. And at the time, we felt we were the only application that came in from North Dakota. So I don't know, Jill, if that's something you know, if there was more than one application that came in or not. But they also said that it's not necessarily guaranteed you end up with the same people you applied with. They may break you apart into different regions.
Yeah, I don't have any information to share on that. Sorry, Lori.
That's all right.
I'm just curious, so Paul, then are you, through your work with the Northern Plains Resource Council, is that one of the 8 regional councils that's also part of the application? No?
No, that would have been like Red River Regional Council and North Central Planning Council.
Okay,
So
I
these
gotta
are the,
get my council straight.
these are the 8 regional economic development councils. So Souris Basin Planning Council serves the area around Minot. Lake Agassiz Regional Planning Council serves the area around Fargo. So Mitch Calkins has been a participant in our coalition often. And then there's 6 others.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Anyone else have, so just a little bit more that I was reading from the executive summary. To strengthen regional food systems by creating new value chain connections and expanding supply to and demand from new and existing markets, improve viability, increase market value of products, and boost our upper Midwest regional food systems in response to those supply chain weaknesses, small business challenges, and other difficulties exposed and exacerbated by the pandemic. So we'll keep our fingers crossed till April or longer to know if that funding will come through. All right, Lori, you mentioned the RAD Food Co-op earlier on. Do you have another little update or any more to share on that, except that it's up and running now, right?
So I'm in Park River now. We're meeting in just a little bit here. Everything is working except the online shopping system isn't posting the sale ads and getting rid of the old sale items. We've been working on that for 2 weeks and haven't gotten it corrected yet, but we are able to run orders all the way through from start to finish, which thinking it was a 2-week development IT process, a year later almost, I think we have it up and running, but I guess that's why you call it a pilot project. I don't know. So yeah, we're just tonight going to be talking about media, how to get the locals aware that it's ready. And I can't say it's concretely ready. I think the glitch is small. It's just to find what's going on with that and do some local training. And hopefully we'll have those lockers and online shopping up and operating. The cooperative purchasing though has been going for over a year.
Can you just give a little bit more detail for those people who are new and might not know about the RAD Food Co-op?
Sure. So it's a pilot project in northeastern North Dakota, Walsh County, that brings together 4 communities. It brings together Hoople, Edinburgh, and Park River, which all have a grocery store, and then Fordville, which does not have a grocery store. And so they formed a shared services cooperative. And within that cooperative, the 3 grocery stores purchase together and for a larger volume and a better wholesale price. And that product comes in from the supplier into the back room of the Park River store where it's sorted and put on a truck and delivered to those last 2 grocery stores in Hoople and Edinburgh. And adding on to that then is that when the schools lost their school lunch supply, they now are supplying the schools, so that school lunch order has come back to the local grocery store versus a major supplier. And when they lost their milk suppliers, now the milk supply is coming in with the primary supply and being delivered to the communities as well. We have a potato producer in Edinburgh that ships their potatoes back on the empty truck, so back hauling potatoes into the hub for distribution. So it's working out really well. It's what we were hoping for, that it's, if you have a local distribution system, you can get a lot of things moving in your region, both locally produced foods and conventional foods. And we also have a bakery there that's been able to pick up the school lunch program as well, providing the bread for the schools. And they're just bringing their bread over to the Park River store and it goes on the truck to all 4 communities.
Wow, I didn't know about the bread and potatoes. That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep, they do have a big greenhouse here as well, Meadowlark Gardens, that we hope we can move their product as well. And we haven't really talked to that Grafton food incubator, but baby steps. Like I think we got caught up in the IT, trying to figure the IT out. And once we get past that, we'll figure out more suppliers.
And has anyone ordered and picked up food from those climate controlled food lockers yet?
Only friends and family. So we don't want it public yet until we get the glitches fixed. Yeah. So nothing's more frustrating than trying to go to something new and it doesn't work. So trying to make sure that we think it works before we say it's ready.
Okay, everyone got that? Look out for a news story or even more than one news story once the glitches are fixed and the actual deliveries start being made. And then we'll share like heck.
Soon, I hope. I'm getting old. Hopefully I'm still working by the time it gets operational.
All right, thanks, Lori. Any questions on the RAD Food Co-op?
I just want to mention that I grew up in Hoople and I'm really excited that this is happening there.
Oh, cool.
Much needed and yeah, just really excited. And I look forward to sharing it with family and friends up there. Nice work.
Thank you.
Lori, can you say again the bill number that that legislator Murdahl introduced to replicate this work?
Yes, it is 2273.
Thank you.
Okay, great. And briefly on warehouses for good, Lori.
Okay, so this is just understanding that the Walsh County project is working fairly well. And what if we put it on steroids? So made it just thinking more broadly for the state instead of trying to organize all 50 plus counties into their own little distribution hubs. What if we had 6 or 8 nonprofit warehouses across the state? And we could form purchasing cooperatives of grocery stores or supply co-op, marketing co-ops of locally produced foods, and those could all come into the hubs and then be last leg delivered into the communities. It would do wonders for our volume and our accessibility to food products and our ability to distribute locally produced foods. And these warehouses would each contain small areas where you could deliver the local food. It could be washed, packaged, branded, whatever it is for final consumption into schools or grocery stores or wherever your final market is. And so this one, we do have a small steering committee brought together that we're focusing on the Minot area as a pilot project. We do have a proposal to do the financial feasibility. That's kind of the first step of seeing if you can get people to engage and change or do something different. And so we're looking at bringing this group together in February to meet with a consultant and talk through what all is in that proposal and make sure that we have the right elements in there. And let's see, what else can I say about it? We've included a regulation scan. We did bring Warehouses for Good. It's a nonprofit organization that's trying to build nonprofit warehousing in hard to serve areas across the nation. We brought them in as a speaker. And as they were talking about regulations, a lot of questions came up on what can you aggregate and what rules do you have to abide by? So we would include a regulation scan so we knew what we'd have to abide by if we were going to do something like this, especially with local foods and probably locally produced meats as well. But anyhow, just the early phases, just giving it a look to see what all it would take to build a nonprofit warehouse.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments on that early steering committee work focusing on the Minot area nonprofit warehouse proposal?
I guess I'd like to just at least put out there, and I think Laura, you've talked with Quinn Zeno on this and everything, but essentially kind of what we're started up trying to do here over the last 2 years in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and we're involved in a statewide Minnesota project, kind of trying to have they're more focused on mobile food, mobile farmers markets. So obviously it takes a lot of money and infrastructure to have these warehouses. So can we operate kind of as an aggregation site at a farmer's market? So we're involved with that program. We're set up a little bit different. That Red River Harvest Cooperative isn't a farmer's market. We already have, a few in the Fargo-Moorhead area that just weren't addressing the year-round needs, and a few other things. But yeah, part of the thing today too was just making sure that there's a lot of work in Minnesota that's been going on, and they're more than happy to talk to anyone from North Dakota when it comes to these aggregation hubs and things like that, because they've been doing research for the last about 5 years and are continuing to put together the data and whatnot. So just so you're aware, we're involved in that, but then also we've got the connections to help answer whatever questions you might have, because I want to make sure we're expediting the process and if not replicating too many things and doing it. So, but yeah, I think it would be great to have a warehouse for good in the Fargo-Moorhead area here. So I'm very much interested in that, pilot project, if it's in Minot or wherever it may be. That's our missing piece in trying to get things done as far as on a wholesale level with our cooperative.
Yeah, we're definitely on the same page. So thank you. And yeah, we do not want to duplicate. We want to improve, make it stronger. Thank you.
Is the group meeting in Minot in February, is that the sort of meeting where you're still welcoming in additional meeting participants, or is that group fairly well defined with a specific?
We're open. We do have you on the list, Stephanie. And Quinn is on the list as well. And whoever's interested is definitely welcome. I guess I forgot to mention, it did get a little larger than I wanted, and that it's a 2-state project. So there's also a mirrored project coming out of South Dakota. And the funding so far is coming out of South Dakota. So we are $13,000 short of paying for that full feasibility study. I think we'll be phasing it so that we can just get started while we look for the additional money. But the first meeting will most likely be in Mandan, even though it's a Minot site. Because we do want to involve Department of Health, the Ag Department, the people that would have some oversight over aggregating.
And then, sorry, last comment on that too, Lori. So then because we were on the board of Minnesota, North Dakota, so we had the same question regarding aggregating products, crossing state lines. So someone that we reached out to on the Minnesota side, they've been trying to get a hold of North Dakota regulators for the last couple of months here to put together basically a list of products and what can go across state lines and whatnot. Basically a toolkit for us to use when it comes to aggregating between North Dakota and Minnesota. And eventually, once we get that, that would be helpful probably to you too, just since you guys are, because you guys are still near Minnesota with the rural grocery store project, right?
Yes.
And all that, yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I'm done.
Well, that's why we have meetings, so that we can get together, hear what one another is doing, and make these connections and the ability to share resources. So thank you, everyone, for sharing and the progress that's going on. That's very exciting. Okay, on the other hand, there was the not so good news that happened in the Bismarck area, where we lost our food co-op, Bisman Community Food Co-op. Following over the past 5 years or so of the closure of the food co-op in Fargo and the closure of the food co-op in Grand Forks. So I think we can say now that we don't have any food co-ops that are operating in North Dakota. So being our board members being very supportive and advocates of local foods, wanted to start a discussion on how do we go forward? How can we support local producers who might have lost one of their places to sell their local produce in the state? Support a small local business who is using that facility to as a kitchen to prepare and serve foods from a small food business in our community. So this is only a start. It is to be continued. It's very new and fresh to when a wound was inflicted and we lost that venue. I wanted to thank the Red River Valley Cooperative on social media, shared some really supportive and nice words of comfort as this has all been unfolding. So I wanted to acknowledge that we did see that and helps that. We as Local Food Development Alliance want to make sure that we move forward with this. We want to hear what the needs might be. Maybe there are other efforts. Maybe we can help catalyze those. Maybe there are not. So this is a starting place. And I will turn it over to Stephanie, and that perhaps maybe later in February we can hold a, with more time, more contacts, and reaching out to the folks involved, bring people together to try and do this kind of work where we try to find solutions and move things, keep things moving forward. Stephanie?
Sure, and I don't, basically, I'm reiterating what Karen said. You know, this news was just announced week before last, I think, with the liquidation sales happening last week, I believe, at the co-op. So this is very fresh news. We, as the North Dakota Local Food Development Alliance, try to be very responsive to emerging community issues, but we also wanted to be respectful and thoughtful of the fact that this impacted a lot of the producers who served the co-op, the people who worked at the co-op, the board of the co-op, the community who shopped there. And, you know, there's probably a lot of big feelings, big emotions. So we wanted to make sure that we gave everyone time to experience all that before we dive into these big discussions about what, you know, I of course, I'm an ideas person, so of course I feel like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could, you know, but we thought today we wanted to communicate that we care, we're here for you, we want to be supportive, and we want to offer this group and this meeting space as a space to have a community conversation, if that's what the board and staff of the co-op and producers so desire. You know, our next month's meeting could be a good opportunity for that, like the 27th or 28th of February, which would be a week later than the typical meeting. Internally, we've got a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm going to be away in Spain with Rural Leadership North Dakota for most of February. So just wanted a little extra time to plan that discussion. So all that to say, we will be reaching out individually to the co-op board members, to you, Sammy, and any other co-op staff. Lori, I believe you've been working in the background on that project some. Just to ask how we can best support and help move forward.
And Stephanie, I would add too that I chatted with Michelle Wagner, the child nutrition director at Bismarck Public Schools, because of the Farm to School project and partnership that they had with the co-op. And Michelle couldn't be in the meeting today, but she did say that they are continuing conversations. There's no, you know, she's determined to keep Farm to School going in the school system. So probably more conversations around that. And then with our local foods coordinator, our newly hired local foods coordinator here in Bismarck with Jenna. So yeah, just kind of continuing those conversations and figuring out what the needs might be. And then also from like a farmer's market perspective in the Bismarck community, thinking about ways to reach out to potential farmers and growers and other makers that farmers markets might also be an avenue if they haven't tried or, you know, didn't because they were utilizing the co-op, that there might be some opportunities there too. So an extension is happy to help, you know, with some of those technical assistance pieces and infrastructure sorts of things.
Yeah. And I also,
I'm sorry.
I also want to offer Farms as a farmer educator organization. We're happy to help in any way we can. If there's an education component that's needed, helping farmers with their marketing plans or business plans, we're here.
Mariah?
I'm sorry to interrupt. That's really great to hear. I had spoken with Jenna about just making sure options are out there for the vendors and producers about options at Bismarck for the summer, if they need a landing place. Also, people that were using our commercial kitchen, what other options there are in town. I saw that Philip on Food did a post trying to drum up ideas for other locations for people to where they can go in Bismarck. That's just really key and great that he did that. And I'm trying to, I think Michelle also will be really helpful with what options there are in the Bismarck Public Schools as far as commercial kitchens. But yeah, that's all really great ideas. And I also agree that because the dust hasn't settled yet, it's hard to know right now. Maybe later in the month would be more helpful, or I would be more helpful later in the month, or other board members. But yeah, I appreciate being here. And
Sammy, please.
Just a note to say thank you. I know I saw stuff right before we started liquidating, and I've seen many of your faces recently. Obviously, Mariah, who's been helping us get through. I'm thankful that we have such a supportive community and board. And I have met with both Jenna and Michelle about the future of the Farm to School program, because we all agree that that is incredibly important and we don't want it to go away. I've just been encouraging friends and family to help share posts about, our farmers CSA programs, connecting them to other local farmers markets and things like that. I know for some of the farmers, it's going to be a big hit. For others, we were, a smaller source of revenue for them. Just kind of depends on the farmer and the vendor, but they are obviously the top of our priority list, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that they still have other avenues, and know that we, obviously regret the situation and wish it had ended much better than this. But yeah, Michelle's been great. Jenna's been great. We kind of laid some groundwork there. So I know there'll be more information to come.
Great, this is awesome. Out of something that's been very hard, to hear that we're have already started developing a list of resources, including the new Bismarck Local Food Coordinator, Jenna, Bismarck Public Schools, farmers markets, including Bismarckets and others in the area, the NDSU Extension Service, and farms. So that's quite a list of groups that are willing to jump in and help support one another going forward. So hopefully that will give everyone some seeing something good that's coming out of a not so good situation. I think to say to the group to look for updates on when we will hold our next meeting. In the meantime, we'll be reaching out. We'll make up a list of the resources that are available and try to bring those folks together. Some naturally already are coming together, so that's very good. And just keep supporting local growers by sharing their information. When budgets are limited and social media is pretty free, it's real easy to just share information about where you can buy local foods in that vacuum that's been formed. Okay, we have a few moments for updates before we adjourn at 3. And we had that we, as the North Dakota Local Food Development Association, have the funding in place to secure an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer. We don't have any applicants yet. So we have that availability. We have farm sharing, their farm beginnings, still accepting applicants. With those shared in writing, I'll ask for others to share that haven't yet shared their announcements and also to dig in to look at how you can share those announcements online by joining, becoming a member, and then sharing through that portal that will make that public so that everyone can read those.
This is Jill. I'll add that I finally got my USDA rural development on there. So that update is on there.
Stephanie's posting in the chat box some more farms updates, I think.
I've got an update here. We had a fun event last week in Moorhead. So we worked with the Department of Ed and who else? University of Minnesota Extension. And so we held like a producer gaps training. So producers kind of got a food safety training in the morning. Then we invited schools from the Minnesota side to come, and then we had a networking event for about an hour, hour and a half. So we had about 18 producers show up to the training, and then we had 7 or 8 schools register. Unfortunately, the morning wasn't ideal for roads and whatnot. So just 3 schools showed up though, but that's totally fine. We had that nice networking event, and then producers left and schools stayed, and kind of a training on funding that's available and kind of how easy the regulations and whatnot are behind procuring local produce. So really fun event, went well, made some good connections that hopefully will continue to grow and result in some farm to school relationships being established for next fall. And then we're looking to do, I don't know if Quinn was going to speak on it, but a similar event in North Dakota as well here later this year. Terrible time to quit talking right when Karen leaves, but yes, that's what we're doing. Quinn, you got some?
Not really. We don't have an update yet. Just kind of looking at doing something in the Fargo-Moorhead area around economic development and local food. We had reached out to Christine before she left her position at the state of North Dakota, and we're trying to kind of pull something together, but nothing to announce yet.
I think we have one from Farms. Felicity, do you want to share, or should I, about our social events next a week from Saturday?
Yeah, I can share briefly. So in Fargo, there, yes, the weekend of January 26th, 27th, and 28th, there is the Northern Plains Sustainable Ag Society conference that takes place in Fargo. And that's not necessarily my update, but if you are interested in attending, and if you're a I would say more like medium to larger sized sustainable producer, I'm happy to share information about that. But Farms, kind of as a part of this, is going, or in addition to this conference, is going to be holding just a small kind of farmer social event. So if you're in the Fargo-Moorhead area and you'd like to meet up and talk to the folks of Farms about any ag or local food projects you're interested, or if you just like to come say hi and hang out, we are going to be in downtown Fargo on Saturday, January 28th, and we're going to be at the 46 North Pints End Provisions restaurant, which is just right downtown at 5 p.m. If you are able to let me know if you plan to attend, just so I can kind of keep an eye on the numbers, that would be awesome. But we do we have a table reserved, and be very casual. Come and drop in and say hello. And I believe we'll be sharing out those details on social media and in our newsletter. So you'll have that in writing as well.
And I would just like to thank everyone for being here today. I appreciate your time, your connections, your sharing. Thank you everyone for being here today. I have an update that's personal. This will likely be my last meeting with this organization for a time. I've accepted another position that is not in North Dakota. It is in Washington, D.C. with the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics as the Director of Legislative and Government Affairs. I'll start that job on February 1st from North Dakota and from the district at the beginning of March. So let me say it has been an honor and a privilege to serve and try to advance local foods in North Dakota. And I thank you for this time and the ability, and not goodbye, but so long. So be looking for updates by email, by social media, and for the next time we get together, which will likely be in that time frame of February 27th or 28th, which is a Tuesday. And keep up the good work, everyone. Stay warm.